Okay, so you know how you sent us chapter 1 of the Book of the Law? That one from holyday20.pdf.
Yeah.
That's what we're diving into right now, like full-on deep dive.
This one's a doozy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's one of those sources that can, like, really spark a whole bunch of different interpretations. So what we're aiming for here is, to really cut through all of that.
Get to the core.
Exactly. Find the core concepts this first chapter lays down.
Okay. Sounds good.
So just to set the stage, the text mentions this exithai equals 418 thing.
Right. Right.
And that it was delivered by Awas, who's called the Minister of Hur-Parkrat.
Those names, man.
Yeah, there's something else. But with that as our starting point, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
So, I mean, right off the bat, you hit this huge declaration, the manifestation of Nuit, and then the unveiling of the company of heaven. It's not messing around.
No, it's going big right from the start.
Definitely cosmic scale,
Yeah, you get that sense immediately.
And then right after that, we get this really vivid description of Nuit as the naked splendor of the voluptuous night sky. That's some powerful imagery.
Oh, yeah. It paints quite a picture.
And then, boom, almost immediately after that, we get this massive statement. Every man and every woman is a star.
It's a big one, for sure.
So profound.
Every single person. Inherent value. Right there.
Totally. But here's the thing that I find really interesting. You've got this, like, emphasis on individual divinity with the whole star thing, right? But then later on, there are all these hints about a spiritual or social order. It's like this tension between radical individualism and potential hierarchy, and it's like woven through the entire chapter. So that's one of the things I'm curious about. How do these seemingly opposing ideas work together?
Yeah, that's a great point. You're right. There's this push and pull between the two.
Definitely something to keep in mind as we go through this.
Absolutely. It's a key dynamic.
So anyway, after all that, we're introduced to Hadith, and Hadith says, "Be thou Hadith, my secret center, my heart and my tongue."
Hadith's coming in strong.
Yeah, right. Then the text throws in this little bit about the Cobs being in the coup, not the other way around.
Interesting.
And then it says, "Worship then the Cobs." All right, let's break this down a bit.
Okay, sure.
What exactly is going on with Hadith, this secret center, and these terms, Cobs and coup?
All right, well, from what we're given here, Hadith definitely seems to represent that core, that inner essence. The heart and tongue, the real you.
Like the spark.
Yeah, exactly, the spark. Now, about the Cobs and coup, the text says the Cobs is in the coup.
Right.
It doesn't give us a straight-up definition.
No dictionary here.
But from the context, we can guess that the Cobs is like the seed, the vital point of energy or light.
Okay.
And the coup is the individual, or like the sphere of their experience.
Interesting.
So maybe think of it like this. You've got a battery.
Yeah.
The Cobs is like the potential energy inside. That's the coup. The sparks within the structure, not the other way around. So when it says worship then the Cobs, it could be telling us to look inward, to cultivate that unique essence at our core.
Instead of looking outwards.
Exactly. It's a shift in focus.
And then right on the heels of that, we get this line, "Let my servants be few in secret. They shall rule the many in the known."
Okay, so now we're getting into some social, maybe even spiritual hierarchy.
Totally. We were just talking about individual significance, and now it's bringing in this idea of a select few holding power. It's like a whole other layer.
Yeah, it definitely adds complexity.
And, this concept of a hidden group having influence, it's not entirely new. We see it in all sorts of esoteric and philosophical traditions. But the question is, what kind of rule are we talking about here?
Right. What does that actually look like?
Is it spiritual? Intellectual? Something else entirely?
The chapter doesn't spell it out.
It just throws it out there. And then it doubles down on its critique of more conventional forms of worship. It just flat out says, these are fools that men adore. Both their gods and their men are fools.
It's not pulling any punches.
No. It's a direct attack on established structures, both religious and social. But then, almost immediately after that, it flips and says, "Come forth, O children, under the stars, and take your fill of love." And then it follows that with, "My ecstasy is in yours. My joy is to see your joy." It's this weird mix of elitism and universal invitations.
It's almost as if it's speaking to different audiences at the same time.
Or maybe different aspects of the same audience.
That's possible too.
Okay, let's move on to the cosmic imagery, because this is where it gets really interesting.
All right, let's hear it.
So we've got this image of Nuit bending down to kiss Hadith, and then there's this mention of the winged globe, the starry blue. which, it says, belongs to Ankh Afna Khonsu.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot to unpack.
Right. So first of all, what's the deal with all of these symbols coming together like that? I mean, the image of Nuit, this vast night sky meeting Hadid, that intense inner fire.
It's cosmic union, infinite and finite, all wrapped up in one.
Right. And then bringing Ankh Afna Khonsu into it with the winged globe.
It's connecting those abstract ideas to a real historical figure.
Someone associated with specific Egyptian practices, which adds a whole other layer of meaning.
Definitely layers upon layers here.
Okay, so from this cosmic union, we get these key figures introduced. The chosen priest and apostle of infinite space, who's called the Beast, and his woman, the Scarlet Woman. And they have this specific role, gathering Nuit's children and bringing the glory of the stars into the hearts of men. They're even presented as the sun and moon with a winged secret flame and stooping starlight. It's a very particular, very important function within this system, wouldn't you say?
Totally. It's like they're channeling those cosmic energies, embodying them. The sun and moon imagery, that really points to this active and receptive dynamic.
And that winged secret flame and stooping starlight, it's got to be Hadid and Nuit being manifested through them, right?
That's the implication, for sure.
Okay. But then comes the contrast. But ye are not so chosen. And then you get all this intense imagery, fire and serpents, directed at, like, everyone else. It's a clear dividing line.
No ambiguity there.
It really hammers home that idea of hierarchy that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, some are chosen, some are not.
All right, moving on. The chapter then shifts to ritual and law, saying that the key of the rituals is in the secret word that's given to the beast. And then Nuit declares herself as heaven, stating that there's no other god but her and Hadid. So we've got this secret word and this elevation of Nuit and Hadid as the ultimate divine power.
It's like a whole new theological framework is being laid out.
Definitely a departure from traditional systems. Then we get this really interesting instruction. Bind nothing. Let there be no difference made among you between any one thing and any other thing. For thereby there cometh hurt. It's a call for radical acceptance, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. No distinctions, no boundaries.
But then here's the kicker. Right after that it says, but whoso availeth in this, let him be the chief of all.
Oh, yeah, that's a tricky one.
It seems totally contradictory. On the one hand, no binding, no difference. On the other hand, a chief. So how do we make sense of that?
Well, maybe it's not about a traditional hierarchy, top-down kind of thing. Perhaps availeth in this means something else. Like, maybe it's about a natural leadership that emerges from understanding. Those who truly grasp this bind nothing concept, they're the ones who might step forward. Not because they're forcing it, but because they embody that unity.
That's a good point. It's a more nuanced way of looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about power over others, but about a depth of understanding.
Okay, so let's move on to the next bit, because this is where the chapter gets a little more esoteric. It goes into the nature of Nuit, giving us this numerical thing. I am Nuit, and my word is 6 and 50. Divide, add, multiply, and understand.
The power of numbers.
Right. What's the significance of all that?
Well, in these systems, numbers often have a deeper meaning. It's like a code, a way to unlock deeper levels of understanding.
So it's not just about doing math.
No, it's about playing with these numbers, seeing what emerges.
Okay, then the prophet asks about his identity and the sign, and Nuit's response is all about ecstasy and this consciousness of the continuity of existence, the omnipresence of my body, a very experiential way of defining the divine connection, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's not about belief, it's about experience, a direct felt connection.
And then the priest wants Nuit to be called Nun because she's continuous. And the reply is this really weird statement. None breathe the light, faint and fairy of the stars, and two.
It's a mouthful.
Right. What's going on there?
Well, it seems to be pointing to the singular, infinite nature of Nuit. She's beyond definition, beyond any one thing.
She's everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. But then the and two part, that's likely referencing Hadith, the complementary principle. So even within this ultimate unity, there's this essential duality.
Okay, so we've got this duality. And then the text says, for I am divided for love's sake, for the chance of union. This is the creation of the world, that the pain of division is as nothing, and the joy of dissolution all.
Wow. It's a completely different take on creation, isn't it?
It really is. Instead of separation being bad, it's like a necessary step for an even greater reunion. It's all driven by love.
And that joy of dissolution thing, it's so counterintuitive. We're usually afraid of endings.
It's like it's reframing the whole idea of transformation. Dissolution isn't the end, it's part of the process.
All right, moving on. The chapter then gets into this whole obedience and knowledge thing. It says, obey my prophet, follow out the ordeals of my knowledge, seek me only. And then it promises redemption from pain through Nuit's love.
It's really emphasizing the role of the prophet. He's the guide, the one to follow.
Totally. And it mentions the threefold book of law and the roles of the scribe Ankh Nakansu and the wisdom of Rahur Quit in its interpretation.
So the text itself isn't the whole story. There are layers of meaning that need to be unpacked. All right, it's not just surface level. And then we get a list of practices that need to be learned and taught. Things like mantras and spells, the obiya and the wanga, the work of the wand and the work of the sword. It's getting into some pretty practical, magical stuff.
Definitely not just theory here. This is about active engagement, developing specific skill.
Yeah, it's not passive. And then, interestingly, the prophet has the freedom to make severe the ordeals.
So different paths for different people, acknowledging that not everyone needs the same level of challenge.
Right, it's not one size fits all. Okay, so now we get to what might be the most well-known part of all of this, the introduction of thelema as the word of the law.
And the followers being called Thelemites.
Exactly. Then we learn about the three grades, the hermit, the lover, and the man of earth. And of course, the big one, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This is the principle that everything seems to revolve around.
The core of the system.
Thelema, which often means will or true will, becomes the central driving force. And those three grades, they're probably different stages of development, different ways of living out that law. We get those examples like, oh man, refuse not thy wife if she will. And the core declaration, thou hast no right but to do thy will. It's all about individual freedom, pursuing your own path, uninhibited.
Any obstacle to that, any limitation, is a sin in this context.
It's about living authentically, doing what you're meant to do.
Right. And it goes on to describe that pure will as being unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect.
So it's not about being attached to outcomes.
Exactly. It's about the action itself, the pure intention.
And we get those numerical secrets connected to the law, 61, 8, 84, 18. And there's that call to unite them through art.
Those numbers have got to hold some deeper significance.
Oh, definitely. And art here, I think, is more than just painting or music.
Yeah, it's probably about a more general process of creative integration, bringing those elements together in a meaningful way.
Okay, then there's a pretty big statement. Abrogate are all rituals, all ordeals, all words and signs. Rahorkut hath taken his seat in the east at the equinox of the gods. It's like a total reset, a new era.
The old ways are gone. It's a shift to a more direct individual experience of the divine.
And under the rule of Rahorkut, this solar active deity,
Right. It's a new phase.
then we see roles being assigned to Asar, Isa, and Hor. It's like it's taking these older figures and reinterpreting them within this new framework.
It's giving them new jobs, new functions in this new eon.
Yeah, it's all very deliberate. Then it talks about the hierophantic task and these three ordeals in one that can be given in different ways. Fire, intellect, and then the highest level for the chosen ones.
Different paths for different people. Some need the intensity of fire, others connect through intellect.
Right. And then we get this really interesting line. Thus ye have star and star, system and system. Let not one know well the other.
That's interesting.
It's like earlier it was all about everyone being interconnected stars, and now it's saying, well, maybe not so much.
Maybe it's about recognizing that while we're all connected, we also have our own unique paths and understandings.
Yeah, like respecting individual sovereignty and experience.
Yeah.
It's a subtle distinction, but an important one.
Totally. It adds nuance.
Then it describes this palace with 4 gates, all these precious materials and scents and emblems of death. And the instruction is to enter the gates and stand on the floor. And then it asks, wouldst thou sink?
Sounds symbolic.
Oh, definitely. It's like a test, a journey into the self, maybe a spiritual initiation.
The 4 gates could represent different aspects of consciousness, and the emblems of death, maybe they symbolize facing your limitations.
Right. And that question, wouldst thou sink? It's like a test of faith, a challenge to your inner stability.
It's pushing you to confront something deep within yourself.
Then it talks about the consequences of misunderstanding things, not aligning yourself with Nuit. And it says this will regenerate the world.
So your actions have consequences beyond yourself.
They impact the whole cosmos. It raises the stakes.
It's not just personal growth, it's contributing to a larger shift.
Then it really emphasizes how important the text itself is, saying, change not as much as the style of a letter. But then it says, the prophet won't fully understand everything, but his child will. And this child will arrive unexpectedly.
So there's more to uncover, more to understand. Maybe it'll take generations, or maybe it requires a different level of consciousness.
And this child coming from an unexpected place, it adds this whole element of prophecy and mystery.
Yeah, it keeps the door open for future revelation.
Okay, so we're almost at the end here. The chapter finishes with a direct call to Nuit. Invoke me under my stars. Love is the law, love under will. And it warns against misunderstanding this love, saying it's not just about being nice, it's a powerful, willed force.
It distinguishes between the dove and the serpent, gentleness and transformative power.
And it promises all these incredible things. Joy, certainty, peace, ecstasy. And all without any demand for sacrifice. Then it goes into all this detail about incense and the number 11 and the five-pointed star and colors.
It's giving you specifics, concrete ways to connect with Nuit.
Yeah, it's not just abstract concepts. And the lack of blood sacrifice, that's a clear break from older traditions.
Definitely signaling something new.
It ends with this focus on loving Nuit above all else, describing rituals and practices. It even says material wealth and indulgence are okay, as long as it's done in love for Nuit.
So it's not about denying the world, it's about engaging with it in a certain way.
Right. It's like all of life can be an expression of that love. The last few lines describe the priestess's role in gatherings, her intense desire, and then that powerful call, to me, to me.
It's a very evocative ending.
It reiterates Nuit's identity and ends with that same call, to me, and then the manifestation of Nuit is at an end. Phew.
That was a lot.
It really was. Chapter 1 of the Book of the Law, dense, complex, and full of interesting ideas, to say the least. We've tried to highlight the key concepts, the big ideas, but there's so much more there, so much nuance.
Layers upon layers.
Exactly. So for you listening, we'd really encourage you to go back to the text itself. Read chapter I yourself. Really grapple with it. Your own interpretation, your own insights, that's where the real magic happens.
Primary sources, always the best way to go.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. That statement, every man and every woman is a star. What if you truly took that to heart? Not just as a nice idea, but as a fundamental truth. How would that change the way you see yourself, your potential, your connection to everything around you? It's a big question, but one worth pondering.
Something to think about.
Definitely.